I am that I am. Adamus, Saint Germain. Tough times call for tough angels. And that is why I am here today. I took time from my extremely busy schedule, having just come from a series of meetings in Paris. Indeed, very difficult meetings, Chambron. Meetings that will continue to last for days and weeks and months. Literal meetings that I've been in early in your day, during the daytime in Paris, now nighttime. I've taken some moments of my schedule to be here with you, to talk about what is going on in the world, talk about the fall of power. Let us take a deep breath together before we journey into this discussion. I'm going to ask you to hold on to your seat. We're going to have a bumpy ride here. But dear Chambron, you knew it was coming. And that is why you are in these seats right now. Whether you are here in this very quaint community center, whether you were back in Paris or anywhere else in the world, you knew you were going to be here in these seats at this time. We've had a series of very important, delicate, and historic meetings in Paris today regarding the future, the destiny of Europe, of Asia, Africa, the Americas, similar to meetings that have taken place all around the world these last few weeks. If you were me, and you're not, you would know what it's like to go to these incredible places of power. Washington, New York, London, Paris, Bangkok, all over the world. What you are seeing is the end of power as it was known on earth, and thank God it is. This end of power is scaring the bejesus out of those who have been feeding on it for ages and ages of time. They are seeing their empires crumble. They are seeing their fortunes lost. They're seeing everything they thought they were collapse in front of them. And the world is changing. It has been an incredible few weeks in the history of Earth, a history that will not be forgotten for a long, long time. And it's what has been done over the past 10 years of time by conscious humans around the world that are coming into play right now. It is what has been transpired since the date of the quantum leap a year ago that is making a difference at the power tables around the world right now. I'll explain a bit more in this shout, but let us once again take a deep breath. We're embarking into new territory, the likes of which I have never seen in any of my lifetimes, and you have never seen either. The greatest shift in humanity is taking place as you sit here right now. We're talking about a shift of consciousness, unlike any other. You've gone through shifts before in other lifetimes, but it is unraveled over many, many lifetimes, over hundreds or thousands of years. Never has it happened so specifically and in such a short period of time. Tobias asked me if I could share some of my thoughts and feelings with you today. give you some insights into what is truly happening in this world. Tobias is preparing for his discussion about music tomorrow. He is preparing for his upcoming event in Brazil, dealing with the sexual energy virus. Work that is so important right now in this tremendous shift that is taking place. And of course, Tobias is working on his return back into the physical form so that he can join you in the flesh and in the blood. So he can be there to help you welcome in the many who are coming now, the crystals. Oh, in this power shift on earth, you're going to see many who have lived for power, who have lived lifetime after lifetime in their power houses, sitting in their power chairs with their power antics, leaving earth and not coming back for quite some time. This is going to make room for the ones who have not been to earth before. This whole new breed of crystals, new energy children, who are coming in on the very energy beams, the consciousness portals that you have helped to create. If you think you're at an age where you are beyond giving birth, you are. I saw a bit of panic with some of you. Dear God, not another one of those in my life. 2 is enough. But in another very real way, you have been giving birth. You've been in your gestation period for 5, 10 years of time, creating the openings that will allow the crystals to come in. And they are not the wise ones. They are the new ones. They are not the ones who will come up with the solutions and the answers to the many problems and challenges that are facing humanity right now, because those ones are already on earth, and they're sitting in these seats today, and they're you. And the dear words of a friend of mine and a friend of all of yours, you are the ones you've been waiting for. You are the messengers. You are the ones who have come across time and space. In spite of getting caught in this very linear and restricted dimension, you are the ones who came here with the message a long, long time ago, disguised for so many lifetimes in the physical body, trapped for so long in the mind. The mind. We're going to go beyond the mind, and it will scare many because they don't know anything besides it. The mind has been a power center. We'll go beyond that. You are the messengers, not the ones in flying saucers, not some leader who you think is going to rise up from the ranks, come to save this planet Earth. You are the messengers. I want you to breathe that in. I want you to remember who you are, why you were in the temples in Atlantis, why you were back in old Egypt, why you were back in the time of Yeshua, why, by no coincidence at all, you have shown up time and time again at the most dramatic and poignant and important moments in the history of this planet. But a history that goes beyond just the planet, a history right now that is having an effect on 1,000 and more new Earths that are waiting to start, that are in formation in the other realms, but they are like mirrors of this physical Earth, the original Earth, and they are waiting. In the heavens, where your spiritual families exist, they are waiting right now, taking a deep breath, sending you their deepest love, for you are their messenger as well. You didn't necessarily come here to earth to take some high-profile political position, or to be some baron of some multi-billion-dollar enterprise, or to be some rock star up on stage, because you learned in past lives those are difficult roles for the true messengers to play. It's too easy to get caught up in the power, to get overwhelmed by all those energies being directed at you. As messengers who've come across time and space, you're the ones who are here on the quiet levels, on the everyday levels, but on very expanded levels, to bring the message to the rest of humanity, to bring the vision of the future, to bring the hope of the new way. And that is why you are here. You doubt it so often. You wonder, if this was so true, how come you weren't powerful? How come you couldn't do all these grand things that would impress friends, relatives, and other humans? How come you don't have this clear clairvoyance? How come you can't predict the future? How come you can't move objects without touching them, much like I do? You have put that away, at least for the time being. It would have been a distraction. It would have caused you to focus on something that would eventually been your own poison. But dear friends, I look at those sitting here, I look at you who are coming across space on the internet, and those who will listen to and view this later. If you are hearing my words or reading these words, if you are touched by the energy of this group known as Shambhala, you are the messengers, and you come here now. So Tobias is preparing for more work, preparing to come back here to earth, preparing to work side by side with you. Katumi, the one who doesn't appear so often like this in front of Shambhala, is so busy working with you, and you know it. You feel his energy. You feel Kathumi continually trying to get you to understand. It's about being so present in this moment, in your body, and expanding beyond your mind. But today is my day. Today is the day of Adamus, and here we are. You are at the pinnacle of the biggest change on earth. Now, some of you may question that, because in past lives, the changes occurred during the times of war, for the most part, or famine. Those were the two ways that got change going. But here, you're not going to see the type of wars that you've seen in the past. You're going to see a whole different way of changing consciousness. For those of you who are waiting for 2012, you're going to miss the fun. You're going to miss the party, because it is happening right now. It started. The true deep changes started a year ago. Oh, they've been building up for a long time. But the real shift in consciousness from old energy vibrations to new energy expansion started a year ago, and look what has transpired since then. If you're waiting for 2012 for some grand change, you will have missed the whole thing. Over the next 4 years in particular, you're going to see some very difficult things, challenging things. You're going to see an old consciousness on earth unravel come apart. And yes, there will be those who panic. There will be those who are in fear. And there will be many, many who resort to stealing, whether it is stealing money, whether it is stealing other people's energy and consciousness, whether it is stealing their property. You're going to see a lot of this taking place. The next 4 years are going to be a time for you to be in balance, to bring up within yourself everything that you've learned, everything that you've gained in wisdom, everything that you already know within yourself. Next 4 years are going to be a time to stop hiding and stop pretending that you're a victim. Stop pretending that you're waiting for something else. Stop pretending that you have to learn more. You have to go through all of these rituals and ceremonies to become a new energy human. You are it right here, right now, today. There's not one thing that you are missing other than the true trust in yourself. What you're seeing happening all across the world right now, all around you, is a profound loss of trust. Loss of trust in old systems, old organizations, loss of trust in government, and it is falling apart. What you have, dear Shambhala, one of the most important tools is the true trust in yourself. And ultimately, for the rest of the world, it is the same thing. It is about them learning to trust that they have the answers. But right now, in these most shifting, in these most collapsing of times, it is time to remember, and it's time to bring up the trust in yourself. You will be able to get through every part of this nearly unscratched if you remember to trust who you are. And I'm not talking about trusting some unknown God. I'm not talking about trusting a guru. I'm not talking about trusting who you think you're going to be 5 or 10 years from now. I'm talking about trusting you right now. You have every tool. You have every resource. You have everything you need right now. Because as a messenger, as one who can go across time and space, you put it there for yourself. Trust that you knew enough to put that tool in the path to be utilized in the now moment. Trust that you already put it there, and it will then be. Take a deep breath. Wait not for 2012, because by then, this shift in consciousness will have gone through its most difficult cycle. By 2012, you will see the beginnings, the manifested beginnings of the new earth, right here. The bottom line, the purpose of my talk, the title of my talk today, is the farewell to power. And indeed, that is what you are seeing. If you want to say, you want to know what's going on, you say, Saint Germain, give us the bottom line. What's happening on earth right now? It is the loss of power. You've had it happen within yourself, so you should know exactly what that's about. 10 years of losing your power, even though you tried desperately to hang on to it. If you take a look back at your history in this lifetime, so much of it is about losing your power. That includes the power centers in your body. You lost the old power centers, the one of the old sexual energy. That was a major power center. That was a tough one for some of you to get through because you were so bought into it. After lifetimes of building up your sexual energy, and I'm not just talking about fornicating with somebody else. I'm talking about where you brought in power and where you emanated power from. You spent this lifetime learning what it was like to let go of the sexual power within you. Some of you have used it for great manipulation. Some of you have used it to build great barriers around you. Some of you have used it for just pure energy feeding. Instead of relying on what's truly inside, you work from this sexual power center to feed off of others. So, that had to go. I didn't take it from you. Nobody else took it from you, but you set up the circumstances in your life, albeit very, very difficult and challenging, to break down that power center. A few of you had power centers of money. You learned those over lifetime after lifetime. And you had to learn that the power is an illusion. You had to learn to let go of that power. And it was difficult. And I almost wept a few tears for some of you when you were losing everything material. It was who you thought you were. It was your strength. It was your weapon. And you had to lose it. And then when you tried to regain it again, you had to lose it another time. Thank God for that. One that many of you still struggle with today, but we'll get through it, is the power center in your mind. You lost the sexual power, the financial power, so you put everything right up here. At least I still have my sense. My mind, at least I can still be rational. And that is going too. You see, the mind has been a very tricky, a very stubborn power center. You've placed all of your power, your value for yourself, everything that you think you can create and think you can be right here. And we have seen that that too is going away. Because power is an illusion. Power is old vibration energy. Power, anything to do with power, consists of having to have opposing energies. We've gone through this before, the positive, negative, masculine, feminine, light, dark. Any of these. But you've focused this power center in the mind, and it's perhaps the last true power center that you have, and that's going. And when it is gone, you will open up yourself to an inner and outer universe of who you really are. When that illusion of this last remnant of power is gone, you'll understand the mind was a limitation. There is so much more to you. Some of you have used religion and spirituality as your power center, and combined with the mind, that is a very dangerous cocktail. You've used this religious rhetoric and spiritual BS. Caldera wasn't going to let me say shit, so I said BS. As a power center. Some of you have combined it also with your sexual power center in the past, and look what happens. You're seeing it in the churches right now. You've learned to let go of that dogma, of that philosophy, of that facade. It was a power center, and it's going. Then you make up these other little power centers in your body, and you give them so much validation, what you call your chakras. You don't have chakras. You are God also. You don't have to consolidate power in little colored spinning circles in your body. It is an illusion, or perhaps I should say a delusion. And in the midst of it, you give your power away to everybody else as well. You've learned in 10 painful years what it's like to let go. This, for you, was the loss of power so that you could be who you truly are. You could move into the new energy, which doesn't need power, doesn't want power, and won't permit power. Why would you need power in an energy that is truly expansional in every direction? It doesn't need to oppose itself to know itself. It doesn't need to accumulate anything because everything is already there. Why would you need power? Since the days of late Lemuria into Atlantis, this concept of power has built and built and built. It has been brought forth into this modern, you call it modern age, and it has ballooned. It has gotten out of control. And what is happening in the world right now, as it shifts into a new energy and a new consciousness, is power is not permitted. To the point, right now, power is the poison. And you're going to see it again and again when you read the headlines and you see what's happening in the world. The very power that people have held on to in the past, starting with the largest and most powerful institutions, is going to be their poison. The more they hold on to it, the more poisonous it will become. The more they try to believe in it, the more venomous it will be. The more they try to use it against another, the more it will strangle them. It will choke them. It will take the life out of them. Power is a consciousness of itself. Power has reached a point in its cycle where it cannot be power anymore. It cannot be opposing masculine, feminine, or light and dark. It has outgrown itself. It is seeking its freedom from the old consciousness that it has been in. And now it is turning on itself. Power is poisoning and killing itself and anyone who holds on to it. Strong words, but true words. You'll see it. You'll see it next week. And the week after. And when you wonder what is going on in this world, is it falling apart? And the answer is absolutely it is. Power is destroying itself and all of those who have abused it, misused it, and misunderstood it. Let's go down through some of the categories. Let's take a look at potential headlines for that which will come.
Just the October surprise.
First of all, you've seen it in the financial sectors, and you've only seen the beginning. And what you're going to see here in the coming few months in particular are those who have held the power, not just in this lifetime, but in many, who have held it again and again, have reincarnated back into it, have appointed themselves some sort of a dictator of power. And there are a lot of them on earth right now. the ones who have been holding the financial power, you're going to see them desperately trying to get it, trying to take it back, trying to manipulate it. Stand behind the short wall, take a deep breath, have compassion, because woe to them. Woe to their families, woe to their servants, woe to all who are part of their power game. Stand behind the short wall with compassion, dear friends. Don't feel sorry for them one bit. You could say, in a way, in a twisted way, that they are doing this for humanity as well. They knew it was coming. In the 1500s, in the 1700s, and then late in the 1900s, we had some, what you would call very multidimensional, very spiritual, mystical discussions with these groups who have held the power. We showed them what would come. They did not believe it. It caused them to hold on more desperately to the power, and now it's here. So there was a level at which they knew it was coming. Don't feel sorry. Also, don't feel sorry because some of them are going to be coming to some of you to find out what the hell just happened in their life. They're going to be in a nightmare when they come to you. They are going to be in a world of hurt. So, dear Shambra, power is poison right now. It's poison to those who are in government positions, who have had their little games, who have had their little empires, who have thought more about themselves and about their little group that supports them. I'm not talking about necessarily just the elected officials. I'm talking about the bureaucrats. The bureaucrats are going to find themselves out. The bureaucrats are going to find a whole new legion of beings that are coming in to actually serve, not to take. The ones who have been holding on to the little thrones of power are going to find themselves in a world of hurt also. We're not making anything happen. You aren't making anything happen, but the power that they used to drink has now turned poisonous. The very power that they rely on, the very drink that they take in every day, is now a poison. You're going to find it continuing to happen in the churches. Thank God for that. For they have held power of government, power of money, power of sexual energy, and power of spirit and consciousness. And when they drink in their power, it's going to explode their bowels. It's going to destroy from the very inside what they have been abusing for so very long. There's going to be stories that come out about those who have held the religious power and the trust and the faith of the people and what they're really like. The demons that they really are. I'm sorry, Tobias doesn't, he brings it to you gentler. I'm just putting it out on the table. I had a very, very long few weeks of negotiations. I show up sometimes as a cat, one of my new favorites. You know, humans are so funny. They think a cat is so harmless. At our meetings in Paris earlier today, I showed up as me, and I shocked the crap out of some of these power people, these bankers, these bureaucrats, these politicians who recognize me as Saint Germain from other lifetimes. And they couldn't quite figure it out. Where do I know you from? And I could only smile. I said, you know me from hell. And that's right where you're going back. Dear, dear Shaumbra, what you are seeing right now is a farewell to power, the loss of power, power as the poison on earth right now. It is sweeping across every institution of power. You're going to see it in even things like universities and schools, in the police departments, in the militaries, because what used to be the very thing that sustained them is now going to be the thing that collapses them. You're going to see in this shift, you're going to see chaos. I won't sugarcoat that one. You're going to see it all around. Some of you are going to experience it as close as your own families and friends. They're going to lose things. They're going to be in pain and suffering, at least the illusion of it. They're going to wonder where God is, and that's going to be the most difficult of all the questions. You're going to see them on their hands and knees, praying and praying and praying, and getting themselves into a frenzy because they derive power off of a false God. Every time they prayed to it, they weren't praying to God. They were praying for power. And when they pray now, they're going to be drinking in the poison of old energy. And it's going to have to change them. Let's take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. As you are standing behind the short wall, watching the poison of power make its way across the earth, as you see the assassination of European leaders in the very near future, as you see major earth shifts, the earthquakes that have been predicted for a long time, they're going to happen, Shaumbra, before your eyes. Understand, it is the loss of power. This isn't because people have been evil. Humans are good. Humans have hearts. Humans are filled with love and hope. But a few have tried to take it away, and it won't work anymore. A few are trying to hold back a transition into a new consciousness where power is not needed or wanted. They're trying to hold on, and it will be their undoing. You're going to see riots in the streets, burnings of cities. You're going to see people getting diseases, sicknesses that spread far too fast for modern science to catch up with it. You're going to see some dark days, and it's not the end of the world. I'm going to ask each one of you to remember to trust yourself, to understand that you don't need power, that you don't need that old energy. I'm going to ask each one of you to stand up and be the messenger that you are. You've endured many hard years of your own preparation for exactly the time we are living in. You are the ones who they are going to come to for listening. Listening. They'll need somebody that will just listen to them, not spewing out so rhetoric, not performing any certain type of rituals or crystal healings or any of the rest of that. They're going to need a listener. Then they're going to need somebody to help them to breathe, because as Tobias has said before, they're going to be in a state of shock. They're going to think they are living in an apocalyptic time. It will feel that way for many. And again, mark my words here, I'm not predicting the end of the world. I'm predicting grand changes. And I'm predicting the dissolving of power You're going to have experiences that are going to be a bit frightening, where the literal power, your electricity, goes out, not just in one small city, but across an entire country or countries. And you're going to wonder what is happening, because, you see, your world is set up on a literal power grid, fed by things like nuclear and coal and other resources. But you have a powered earth, so you're also going to see collapses of some of the power grids that you have. Oh, they'll be restored after a period of time, but they will go out in a very unusual and mysterious way in different parts of the world. And I want every one of you to stop at that point, and if you blame it on the aliens, we're going to have a long talk. We're going to send you back to spiritual kindergarten.
Spiritual kindergarten?
Shambhar, you're going to see things that you've never seen before. And it doesn't have to affect you. It doesn't have to throw you off. Actually, it really can't. Because you've let go of power. You've come back to you, the source, the God within. You've gotten yourself off of the grid, so to speak, the grid of old energy, human consciousness. Remember, we had to tear some of you off the grid about 3 years ago. Let go of that grid of human consciousness, even the grid of spiritual consciousness, because you are your own grid. So while you're going to see these things around you, they're not going to affect you, because you're not holding on to power like others in the world are right now. Speaking of happenings, you're going to see what many will term visitations, lights in the sky, very unusual patterns, likes of which have not been seen before. These are not the aliens. These are the new consciousnesses of humanity coming in. They will be perceived as lights in the sky, not just at night, but during the day. They'll be perceived as very interesting shifts, mostly as light energy, but as other types of energy as well. Some will interpret this through the mind and the eyes as alien beings, but it's your new energy, your divinity, and the new consciousness of humanity coming in. Don't go back to the old power ways of giving yourself to the aliens. You are the messengers. You are the ones you've been waiting for. Indeed, there will be the consciousness of dimensions, of planets, of other places that are coming in to watch and observe, but they're not coming in to rescue. They're not coming in with the answers, because you have it. You will feel the energy of spiritual families. You'll feel the energies of the new earth and the many other new earths that are starting to form. The energies of the incoming crystals and the new ones as they get closer and closer to earth. They are able to get closer because the veil is thinner. They will get closer also in the times of drama and change. But remember, they're not the one sent here to save you. You don't need a savior. You are the ones you've been waiting for. You do not have to worry about things like clothing and food and shelter, because those things will be there for you. You don't have to worry about saving the world. You've tried that before in other lifetimes, and it backfires. You are a sovereign being here on earth right now to be a listener, to be a visionary, to be one who helps others breathe and help others see that they don't need the power anymore either. You're going to have a tendency to become fearful, to get caught in the drama because it will be thick. I'm going to ask you to remember who you are. I'm going to ask you to remember that there's this thing called the Shambhala Service Center that you helped to create, that you can go to any time for your own rejuvenation. Some of you have asked. Some of you have been impatient and said, so Tobias, Saint Germain, you said that they will come to your door. They will come to you. Where are the ones who are going to come to me? We're telling you, get ready for them because they are coming. The ones who have felt the rug pulled out from underneath them, who feel like they're living in a nightmare that they never wanted to live in. They will come to you. It will be 4 difficult years for humanity. And then you're going to see a new dawn. You're going to see the new age that you and others have been working on out in the other realms. You're going to see it come manifest to earth. You're going to see a lot of the old leave. And the ones that haven't left will be changed. You're going to see a lot of the new ones coming in. I'd like to take a moment here with Shambhala all around the world right now. I want you to be together in this space, to create a vision and a potential. This doesn't mean creating a mental vision. Of true vision comes from the feelings and the heart. You don't have to try to create a mental picture of what things are going to look like. I want you to feel a potential for humanity. I don't want you to be thinking on a detailed list that every human needs to have a bowl of Wheaties and comfortable shoes and a car to drive. Those are things from the mind. A true vision comes from the feeling. I want you to stop for a moment. Recount one of your own experiences in your life. A feeling that was complete and happy. Could have been a day on the beach, walking through a forest, just driving in your car. I want you to feel that. See, that's a feeling. Feel into it. In that feeling, there's generally a sense of completeness, being content, and not needing anything at that moment. That's why you feel content and complete. In that very special moment that you may remember now, everything was there. Everything was balanced in that moment. There's a feeling of peacefulness. There's a feeling where you didn't need power. It was just you. Now, let's join together in a vision for humanity. And before we do, I want to make a few rude comments. There are groups of people, individuals all around the world who try to have these visions for humanity, as they call it. But what there really are is very hard and fast desires. They're taking their will, they're taking even their limitations and placing it on other humans. They sit in prayer groups. They chant in meditation groups. They are inflicting their will onto other people. We're not going to do that, because that, dear friends, was a power game. Because it was inflicting their beliefs, their desires, their insecurities, and even their wishes on others. What we're doing as New Energy visionaries is creating a potential. We're not inflicting it on anybody. We're not pushing it on anybody. What we're doing is sending out a feeling, a consciousness as a potential for other humans to embrace if they choose it. The ones who are losing their power right now and will be left with little or nothing may walk into this potential, may walk into this new powerless way. We're not trying to create a world in our old energy vision. We're trying to open up and expand a vision through the feelings that others can embrace if they choose. Right now, if you look at the potential that is out there in the near future, it can look pretty bleak. There's been a loss of trust and therefore hope. So the potentials that come forward, the ones that most humans see now, appear to be very dark and very negative. What we're going to do is create a potential, if they want to choose it, where power is not needed, where abuse is a thing of the past, where the completeness comes from within each and every. So let's take a deep breath. And without any force, without any power, without mental, I'm going to ask our very gifted and talented musicians, Einat and Gerhard, to come up and play, to help carry this through the music, help carry this potential into tomorrow and the next day and the next. For those humans who are ready for a new consciousness. As the music plays, let yourself expand. Let yourself feel. Let yourself be the messenger for the next 4 years. deeply, Shambro. Let us create a vision for tomorrow, the feeling, the consciousness that others may associate with, bring into their lives the fulfillment, the divine, the completion, letting go of the power, moving truly into new consciousness. As we now move into this next very important time in your lives, just a few simple things as we stand here behind the short wall. You could say this bottom line, that the power is leaving. We're saying farewell, and all things that you see now, all things that you observe, that you might have otherwise judged as negative or bad. Now observe how it's just the power leaving. Observe how the power is its own poison to those who insist on drinking it in, because it's trying to tell them to let go. There's something of a grander magnitude. In your own lives, you know well enough now to stay out of the drama, stay out of blaming yourself. In your own lives right now, keep things simplified. Simplified. Do that in a very physical way, your surroundings. Do that in your mind. Do that in all things in your life. By keeping things simplified, you're going to find it much, much easier to move through these times. Less will stick on you. I'm not talking about throwing out everything you own. I'm talking about keeping it simple. A lot of your consciousness right now goes towards managing a lot of details. I want you to take a look at things in your life. Are they necessary or not? I'm not just talking about the physical, but the mental things, the beliefs, all things in your life. Are they really necessary? Are they really serving you? I want you to take a look also how much you are still treating your mind as a power center. Most of you have let the large part of that go. You've allowed yourself to open up into the divine and into the imagination, but you still rely on the mind as a central power center. Are you ready to let that go also? It can be frightening because you say, the mind is all I have. But that in itself is the trickery of that power center. You have and you are so much more if you would just trust who you are and let it in. What you have seen here in these past few weeks is a beginning. There'll be more. They'll be coming from many different directions. I'm not predicting doom and gloom. I'm predicting mass change. I'm predicting those who hold on to power are going to find that it's a very, very unpleasant poison. And those who insist on being the victims of those with power are going to find it's time to let that old energy go also. Take a deep breath. Life is good. It truly is. I am that I am, Adamus Saint Germain. We will see you soon.